right, guys, we're here. It's Saturday. It's a little bit windy, so I've got the wind mics on. It's a beautiful day here at the Moore Expo, and just got into a conversation, awesome conversation at the VIP event last night. By the way, how awesome was that?
I was
band?
thoroughly impressed.
Holy
I can't
crap.
believe that they just had those guys show up. I'm like, oh,
I was gonna
casual 80s.
Yeah,
I was like, wow,
wow,
pretty darn
they
good.
were very impressive. That was
awesome.
Members only. This 80s band last night. It was stinking awesome. But had an awesome chance to have a conversation with Andrew from Perfect Enough Garage, and he was telling me about this build. I had seen it. I walked by earlier in the day. I was like, dang, that's cool. And then just hearing the story behind it, I was like, dude, I got to get this on video. So I'm going to let him kind of take it away, and he's going to walk us through all of it.
Hey, guys, like you said, Andrew of Perfect Enough Garage here. Thank you for the opportunity to let me show you guys my car. Really, to kind of kick things off, we can go by the inspiration. Coming to the Moore Expo about 2 years ago, I saw all sorts of amazing high-dollar equipment, and I love the new Jeeps. I love the FJs, the Tacomas, but I grew up with old muscle cars, and so having an old school Jeep Grand Wagoneer, full-size Jeep was a lot more my speed and a lot more my budget. The theme with the title of Perfect Enough Garage is getting my car well enough to where I can trust it and feel confident in going places, yet do so on a pretty friendly budget, as well as with what limited space I've got. I've got a 2-car garage and some amazingly helpful friends, and the internet. Facebook groups, old forums from 2004 where the pictures don't load, those have been my bread and butter for doing the research that leads into this car. But hopping into it, the vehicle is a 1989 Jeep Grand Wagoneer, but the grill is the Razor grill, which was from the late 60s, early 70s. They're a bit more sought after, and I have a soft spot for it because, like I said, muscle cars are my thing. And it's got the round red headlights, the kind of more basic all aluminum grill. It's a bit fragile, and this one's got some texture and beaten to it, but it matches the rest of the car beautifully. Working front to back here, I got my Badlands 9,500-pound winch when it was on sale, as you should do. Front bumper, I whipped it up in 2.5 hours out of scrap metal in my garage, and again, a Harbor Freight winch plate. I want to thank Flying Iron Fabrication for the sweet hookups on the front bumper mount plates. They're quarter-inch steel, all grade 8 hardware. The mount up to the frame, really sturdy. Working into the engine bay here, we've got a 5.3-liter LM7, otherwise known as the classic LS swap. The donor car was previously my daily driver. It was a 2000 Silverado 5.3 with the 4L60, and it was a great truck, but I'd been on it a little bit too much, and the frame was not great, but this car was the perfect candidate for receiving it. Flying Iron Fabrication, again, came through with the awesome motor mounts in this car, and with those, I was able to drop it right in, and I reused as many of the original parts as possible to, again, fit within my budget. Moving up in the engine bay, we've got the original ECM. All I did was remove the vats, no special tuning. I reused the stock fuse block. I literally cut it to about 1/2 its size, and JB welded it onto a U-Haul fender trailer I found out in the woods when I was picking up trash one day. And just like little things like that, you know, you save a couple $100 here, a couple $100 there, it adds up. And that's my theme here. I built my own battery tray out of nice thick angle iron. It holds my AGM battery. And that's kind of where the perfect portion of Perfect Enough comes in here. I wanted a sturdy battery that I know would have a good warranty from O'Reilly and be able to power everything I need while I'm doing my further trips, overlanding to eventually Missouri, Arkansas, Colorado, Utah. The sky's the limit, hopefully. And to help me get there, we've got 79 F250 axles holding up a 37 by 12.5 R17 wheel and tire. These are the BFG KO2s. I got a pair of them. I got the set of them used off Facebook Marketplace. The guy bought them, and then his car didn't fit in the garage, so I reaped the benefits of that. So $900 for a set of tires that are in great shape, and they're awesome. And Steely's, the D windows, I love them. I put them on all my old cheap trucks, and I love the idea of if I dent it, I can just hit it with a hammer and get back on the road. And it fits my budget. I'm trying to save money everywhere I can. And in front, like I said, 78, 79 F250 axles. They're kind of the hot ticket for these Grand Wagoneers, right? Because the spring perches are the same width as the stock Wagoneer. So it's literally a bolt-in axle. that has crossover steering from factory. So by milling and tapping another one of the knuckles, you're able to get a full high steer. So with some forged high steer arms that are raised 2 inches and some 1/4-inch wall DOM tubes, as well as the GM tie rods from I think like the 90s full-size 1-ton trucks, I was able to build a full high steer front end pretty cheaply. And going down the road, this thing has no bump steer. I can cruise at 80 miles an hour. I did the whole way from St. Louis to Springfield, and it's fantastic. It drives amazing. I got one hand on the steering wheel, one arm out the window. That's why my left arm is so sunburnt today. It was just smiles the whole way down here. Working our way back, I did have to swap out the transfer case. The 2000 Silverado using an electronic shifted transfer case, the 246. NP246 specifically, and I wanted a manual shift. So I went to the junkyard to find one. I had a list of about 5 or 8 different trucks that had the transfer case I needed. And the way the world works, man, the very first one I walked up to, the transfer case had already been removed because somebody took the transmission. So the transfer case I needed was sitting on the ground. And I drug it out and I put it in my cart and I'm like, everything works, I guess we're good. So it's just like the junkyard provides, man. And I used the shifter out of the same donor car, the manual shift out of the GMT 400. And so it's pretty easy to work with. And to get my ground signal for the computer to tell it that it's in low range, it's just a little toggle switch to a ground switch. On a separate trip to the junkyard, since we're looking at interior, these are like 2012, 2014 Jeep Liberty limited seats. So they're fake leather. And they're heated. I don't have the heated wiring going quite yet. They used to be power, but I like mechanical seats. As kind of a theme here, I've made as many things basic as possible. So I took out, while I was at the junkyard, I took out the electronic power of the seats and swapped them with the base model Jeep Liberty, and I was able to get my mechanical slide fore and aft. And one of the nice things about these seats too is they fold completely forward. They got tons of room, and I got them on the slide, so I've got all sorts of space in back. So even at me at 6'5", I can hop in the back of this thing and lay down and sleep inside the car, or my Gazelle tent, or whatever setup I ended up bringing. Oh, and also, for getting that out of this thing, the rocker panel is about 31 inches tall, and so it's a bit of a hike. So these are off Amazon. These are, I think, Ford Bronco grips, and the bolts and hardware I just reused from when I had the intake off. So just reusing everything I can, you know, making do with what I got. Also, with that transfer case, I did take it apart. They have a slip yoke from the factory, which is not the best for a bit more serious off-roading with the travel of your drive shaft when your suspension's flexing. So I changed it out with a Tom Woods slip yoke eliminator kit. A few $100, very well spent though, because with that I was able to get a flange-style 1350 output. I also changed the front output on the transfer case to a 1350, as well as the pinion yokes on the front and rear axles of 1350. So the whole drive line is all 1350 joints. So super sturdy. I went with greasable because I plan on doing regular maintenance on it. And if I just bring 2 spare U-joints on the trip, I got my bases covered. Again, with the whole theme of parts that you can get at your local O'Reilly, so it's not crazy aftermarket stuff. One of the more custom things I do have, though, is in the rear here to get the rear axle in there. So it's a Dana 60, again, 79 F250 axle. Spring purchase lined right up, super awesome. Relocated the shocks. I actually reused the rear shocks off of my Silverado that had a rough country lift on. They're pretty much just a stock height shock, dirt cheap. You can get them everywhere. I reamed it out with a drill to 5/8 size on top, and I was able to reuse it. And I've got about 5 inches of up travel and about six inches of down travel or so, which is plenty for what I'm looking to do. With the customization I mentioned before, though, would be the Shaco Flip kit I have installed. It's a TADS Fab Shaco Flip kit running a 63-inch GM spring. So that GM spring is off of like a 95 3/4 1-ton. Again, my favorite parts were the junkyard. They hooked me up. I took the packs apart, removed the 1-inch overload spring on the bottom, and put fresh poly bushings in there and some fresh friction tabs. And the things are great. They're pre-broken in, being from the junkyard, so they ride great. They got tons of flex, all sorts of movement, up, down, exactly what you want on these. While I was back here, I did relocate the axle about 5 inches back. Over here, we got a little bit better lighting. You can see how much I opened the wheel well. Previously, it was about here. and I cut that back. Don't look too close at the welds. We're fixing that, I promise.
Enough, man.
Exactly. You know, it's like that got me here. I'll pretty it up eventually, but for now, it's probably gonna stay like that for a very long time.
Yeah.
I got so many other little things I'm still doing. But here you probably notice I've got 2 tank inlets. So the factory tank is about 20 gallons, I believe, and it's a saddle style tank, and it's up high. One of the awesome things about this car I'm really proud about is that the entire belly is totally flat. And from the factory, it's got a thin skid plate. I'm going to upgrade that to a little bit thicker material, probably 3/16. But I've got a electric transfer pump going from the stock tank, which is this filler neck. And as needed, I can hit a switch on my dash and fill up my 1997 Blazer tank. The reason I went with the Blazer tank, it adds about 20 gallons of capacity, 18 or 20 gallons of capacity, so we're looking about 38 gallons total when I'm filled up. Plenty of range, go all sorts of places, and not have to run jerry cans outside or sit in the sun or run the potential of getting stolen or something. You never know. That tank and the 96 fuel pump allows me to run a 0 to 90 ohm gauge up front, just like it would have had on the stock Wagoneer, while still being nice and flat in the bottom. To get that tank up even higher, I've got a 2-inch body lift on this, which gives me more clearance for my exhaust, the fuel tank, transfer case, all sorts of good stuff. The 2-inch body lift, I think, helped a lot with clearing tires without having to cut the body up too much. And with that tank being back there, it's just a simple plug and play with the LS stuff. I gutted the wires from my Silverado donor car and reused the same wiring to run back here to power the pump with the fuse box. And another example of that be powering my transfer pump is actually the Horton relay system. So I've got a ground out switch powering the transfer pump. So I could have added more stuff or gone and gotten a custom fuse box or something like that, but by reusing as much of the stock stuff as possible, just by doing research and my own online searching and Facebook groups and amazingly helpful people out there, I was able to figure that stuff out and kind of make my own setup. And that's the general theme of this entire car, is just a couple years of research and a whole lot of blood, sweat, and tears and a few dollars here and there. And I was able to build something I'm really proud of. And I've got a huge help from my friends. Awesome shout out to the Gamble by 500 guys, Sons of Smokey for doing trail cleanups, BJ's Off-Road for supplying the amazing full-size Jeep parts. When I need something that is perfect, not just perfect enough, I go to them for full-size Jeep parts. And Tom Woods for hooking me up with the awesome dry shafts that I know will last a lifetime. Do you got any other questions?
Yes, so let's see.
Mm-hmm.
Let me turn this back. I turned it off so we get minimal, and I can cut this. Yep, that's okay. All right. Holy crap, that was a lot.
I'm a talker, man. I'm stoked to be here. I've got so much time and effort in this. I'm thrilled to be here, and for you to, hey, I want to check this thing out. That really means a lot.
Yeah, man. And so that's the thing. That's what we were trying to capture, is his passion for this. Like, yeah, there's $1 million builds just right around the corner, but don't let that stop you from doing what you can do to get out on the trails or whatever it is you're trying to do. Follow that passion. And don't let it stop you. I mean, Andrew's found so many creative ways that are still safe, that are still reliable, that you can do. Mm-hmm. And this is just a testament to that. So did my battery die? No, we're still good. Okay. So the last question I always try to ask.
Yeah.
So what's next? What do you, I mean, this is perfect enough you were talking about hitting the trails with me.
Yeah, I'm definitely thinking about it.
So
it's tempting.
So it is trail ready already. But what do you think is the next step for this?
So the next
First of all, does it have a name?
I just been calling it the Wagoneer.
The Wagoneer. Okay.
Yeah, I'm never creative enough with names. I'm always like, yeah, it's the perfect enough garage Wagoneer. Well, I got 2 of them. The other one I still call my Grand Wagoneer because it's got the wood grain still. It's a bit nicer. It's all stock. This guy's just the Wagoneer.
Gotcha.
A bit more old school.
Okay.
But as far as my next plan, the front bumper, I'm content with that for now. I would love to add rock sliders to protect what rocker panels I got going on.
Yeah.
I've got plenty of ground clearance, so it shouldn't be an issue, but I don't want to get somewhere and have it be an issue, then fold in my doors or something, you know? That'd be a bummer. Then also working in the back here, I do have a 5th tire at home and a 5th wheel on back order, as the way the world works.
Yeah.
But I plan on building a swing rear bumper so I can have a full-size spare. Another kind of interesting dream of mine with this would be to run dual trail cameras. This thing's up pretty high.
Oh, that'd be cool.
My first test drive with it, a Miata pulled it behind me in traffic, and I'm like watching my mirror. I'm like, it's gone. I just can't see it at all. And I love this car. It's got great visibility around me, but now that visibility's been moved up to about 6 feet, you know, so 5.5, 6 feet tall of glass. So I would really like to add a camera back here and run dual squirter pumps, for one for my windshield and one for cleaning off my trail cameras that I would like to have in the front and rear of the car.
Cool.
Then of course I need a little bit of screen and maybe an Apple CarPlay radio and the thing to be able to have my navigation, use my guide, my OnX, all that good stuff. And maybe someday listen to tunes, but for now, I'm plenty happy with the enjoyment of wind noise you get from the giant vent windows on this thing. Yeah. And AC. Eventually, maybe air conditioning. All right. I need that for the girlfriend and for when it gets hot out. I got a dog, the Husky. She loves the air conditioning, not the heat. Warm. So, yeah. Cold weather, though, I'm all for it, man. Yeah. Cool. All right, guys. Well, if you have any more questions, I'm going to put his contact info in the show notes below. So look for those. Get in contact with him. He's on Facebook. It's Perfect Enough Garage. I'm on Facebook, Instagram, and I'm working on a YouTube channel as well. Cool. So I'll pin all that as soon as, well, the stuff that he does have, and then keep an eye out for his YouTube as well. Because I'm sure he won't be content with this once it's done. He'll have a new project, I'm sure, coming as well. So I'm looking forward to seeing what Andrew is up to next. All right, guys, we're going to go see what else we can find as well. I got a few more ideas of some things that stand out from everything else that's here at More Expo. So thanks, Andrew. Appreciate it. Thank you so much for your time and the opportunity to be here on the channel. I really appreciate it. Absolutely.